Welcome, grade fours, to WorksheetCloud.com's online lessons. It's me, Mrs. Nicole Frank, and I am welcoming you to another English lesson for grade fours. I know I said the last time that I was changing things up a bit and starting to start my lessons with me being a little smaller. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend and Monday. And today's Tuesday, and we're going to get into this lesson as fast as possible. So, if you have any questions about this lesson or any of my other lessons, please send an email to grade4@worksheetcloud.com and we'll get back to you as soon as we can after this lesson. So today's lesson, we're looking at a reading comprehension and we're focusing on a newspaper article. Because grade fours, remember a little while ago, I went through newspaper articles with you. So we are going to do a little recap on newspaper articles and then we're going to read one. This is so that we can get into practice with reading non-fiction texts and answering questions on non-fiction texts. So the lesson outline for today, we're going to be doing a sentence a day. I know you've missed that very much, grade fours. And then we're going to recap, identifying the format of a newspaper article. We're going to be looking at comprehension skills because even though it's a non-fiction text, we still follow the same rules that we would if it was a fictional text, okay? And then we're going to be looking at the reading and viewing, where we're going to read the text, go through the text together, and then we're going to answer some questions. So that is the lesson outline for today. The children are walking to school. This is our sentence for today, grade fours. I want you to look at the sentence and try and firstly break it into its parts of speech, and then we're going to look at subject and predicate. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to just focus on parts of speech, and then we can go through subject and predicate after that. So I'm going to give you a few seconds now, grade fours, and so that you can write down the sentence if you'd like, or you can shout out the answers wherever you are, but try and break up it into its parts of speech. Start now. Okay, so parts of speech, again, each word in the sentence has a function, and that word then makes or allows the sentence to make sense. And I know we've discussed this a few times. So the different parts of speech here, and there's a specific part of speech that I've included in the sentence because it's something that we've done recently. And I hope that you picked it up, grade fours. So I'm going to see that as I put up the answers. Okay, so the first answer is a definite article. The word the is a definite article. Children is a common noun. Are is an auxiliary verb. Now, some of you will notice that we have done verbs recently, and the auxiliary verbs were the type of verbs that we focused on in that lesson. So please see that are, the word are is an auxiliary verb, and then we have walking, which is the verb of the sentence, to, which is a preposition, not an infinitive, because remember, an infinitive is part of the verb, and then school is a common noun. Now, before I go into subject and predicate, I want you to take note of something, grade fours. So normally, present tense, past tense, future tense are simple tenses. But we can also go as far as to say that there are also something called continuous tenses. And this sentence is an example of a continuous tense sentence. So, continuous tense. Are walking, you see this by saying are walking or is walking or were walking. That is an example of a continuous tense. And in this sentence, the verbs are indicating a present continuous tense because it's happening at this moment. it is an introduction kind of to a lesson that we're going to be doing soon. So I just thought I'd put that into this in the sentence so that you have a kind of an idea of what we're going to be doing in one of our next lessons. And then subject and predicate. Subject and predicate, remember, separates the subject from the sentence to the rest of the sentence. So from the word the children, which the children is the subject of the sentence, okay? Because the subject is who or what the sentence is about. And then are walking to school is the predicate. Well done, grade 4s. So, recap. Format of a newspaper article. Grade 4s, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we have been through this before, but I'm going to just do a quick recap on what the format of a newspaper article looks like. So here we have it. As you can see, I am in the way of the bottom of the article, but that's not important right now because I will be putting the article up again. So I want you to take a look over here. African black rhino numbers going up. That is the title of this newspaper article. And remember, we discussed that when you are given a title, it must capture the audience or the readers, okay? So now people want to know more about what exactly do they mean by black rhino numbers going up. Does that mean they are increasing? What's happening? You need to capture the readers. And then you also need to put who is the author of the article. Now, in this particular article, there's no one author. They are NFK editors, okay? So that is the newspaper article or who edited or who published this article. And then it was written on the 23rd of March 2020. So that's also important because the newspaper article is relevant now because it was written recently. And if you remember carefully from our newspaper, when we did newspaper articles, we spoke specifically about the fact that newspaper articles are written when the news is relevant. Because sometimes it was written maybe 2012 might not be relevant now in 2020. So the date is very important. Also, it's written objectively. So that means that there is no personal attachment into the newspaper article. It's written from an objective point of view, impersonal, no emotion in the text. Okay? So I'm just going to read the first sentence to you so you can get the idea. The numbers of African black rhinos are slowly rising, say a group of experts who work to protect threatened animals. As you can see, it's not a diary entry, not speaking about feelings, not speaking about an emotion, just stating the facts. That is why this is known as a non-fiction text because it is based on factual evidence. And usually somebody is interviewed so that they can get that evidence. For example, say a group of experts who work to protect threatened animals. I hope that makes sense. Okay, comprehension skills. First thing, and I know that I've done this before, grade 4s, but I would like to emphasize this. Read the text twice. When you read the text twice, you actually are training yourself to understand the text better. When you read it once, you get some of an idea of what's going on. Read it twice, you get a better understanding. And remember, comprehension skills is not particularly only about reading, because you can read very fast but still not understand what the text is about. So it's very important for you to read the text twice. Then read the questions. At this stage, we're not answering any questions yet. We are still just reading. So we read the text twice, then we read the questions, then we read the text again. Because after we've read the questions, we now have an idea of what questions we are looking for and where we need to find our answers. So at this stage, we've read the text 3 times before we even start answering the questions. And then we start answering the questions, because now we've read the text 3 times and we should have a better understanding of how to answer our questions. And remember, grade 4s, we learned how to restate the question. While in this activity, you are able to do that now and use the skills that you've previously learnt. So we are going to read and view this text. And for the purposes of this activity, grade 4s, I'm going to go away, and so that we can read this activity together. African black rhino numbers going up. NFK editors, March 23rd, 2020. The numbers of African black rhinos are slowly rising, say a group of experts who work to protect threatened animals. The increase in numbers is rare good news for animals that have suffered great losses because of poaching. In the past, thousands of black rhinos roamed Africa in the area south of the Sahara Desert. Over the years, these huge animals were almost wiped out, mainly because of poaching. Poachers kill rhinos for their horns. Other people, called traffickers, buy the horns and sneak them out of the country. The traffickers sell the horns again for even more money, usually in Asia. In some parts of Asia, especially China and Vietnam, many people think rhino horns have special powers. They pay a lot of money for the horns, sometimes grinding them into powder and selling the powder like medicine. Rhino horns can sell for more than $60,000, supposed to say dollars, a kilogram. But the IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, says that things seem to be improving slowly. There have also been efforts to make the rhinos stronger as a group and to spread them out over a larger area. In some cases, rhinos have been moved to new locations in the hope that they will settle in the new areas and give birth to more rhinos. Black rhinos are still in danger, but the slow increase in numbers is a good sign. The numbers of rhinos have been going up. In 2012, there were 4,845. By 2018, that number had risen to 5,630. The poaching is still the largest problem facing the rhinos. Poachers killed at least 892 rhinos in 2018 alone. There are other problems too. As humans spread out, they take over more natural land. There's less land for animals. Right now, the black rhinos are in small protected areas. But for the numbers to really increase, the rhinos will need large spaces that are connected. So grade 4s, that was the first time I read the text, okay? And as you can see, we need to read the text twice before we can go on to the next part of the activity. But I'm not going to read it again for this lesson. What I'd like you to do now is I would like you to pause the video at this stage so that you can read the text again for yourself, and then we're going to go on to the questions. What is the name of the article? When was the article written? What is the article about? What were the people poaching rhinos for? Name the parts of Asia where they thought rhino horns have special powers. How many rhinos were there in 2012? How many rhinos were killed in 2018? And lastly, what does it mean that humans are using more land? I'm going to move out of your way here. So those are my 8 questions that I would need to answer now. So I would have to go back to my previous slide, read the article again, and then read my question. So I'm going to go back to my article and I'm going to read it again so that I can get the answers to my questions. Right. African black rhino numbers going up. NFK editors, March 23rd, 2020. The number of African black rhinos are slowly rising, say a group of experts who work to protect threatened animals. The increase in numbers is rare good news for animals that have suffered great losses because of poaching. In the past, thousands of black rhinos roamed Africa in the areas south of the Sahara Desert. Over the years, these huge animals were almost wiped out, mainly because of poaching. Poachers kill rhinos for their horns. Other people, called traffickers, buy the horns and sneak them out of the country. The traffickers sell the horns again for even more money and usually in Asia. In some parts of Asia, especially China and Vietnam, many people think rhinos have special powers. They pay a lot of money for the horns, sometimes grinding them into powder and selling the powder like medicine. The rhino horns can sell for more than $60,000 a kilogram. The IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, says that things seem to be improving slowly. There have also been efforts to make the rhino horns stronger as a group and to spread them out over a larger area. In some cases, rhinos have been moved to new locations in the hope that they will settle in the new areas and give birth to more rhinos. Black rhinos are still in danger, but the slow increase in numbers is a good sign. The numbers of the rhinos have been going up. In 2012, there were 4,845. By 2018, that number had risen to 5,630. The poaching is still the largest problem facing the rhinos. Poachers killed at least 892 rhinos in 2018 alone. There were other problems too. As humans spread out and take over more natural land, there's less land for animals. Right now, many black rhinos are in small protected areas, but for the numbers to really increase, the rhinos will need large spaces that are connected. So I've read the story twice with you, but I have asked you also to read it one more time. So you'd have to have read the story 3 times or this article 3 times in total. And then I've also put up the questions, which we went through already. And I'm going to leave it on for a little bit now for you to get kind of accustomed to them and try and see if you can answer them after I've read the story or the article twice. So I'm going to give you a few seconds now, grade 4s, and then I'm going to put on the answers. You can shout the answers out if you see them. That's fine. I won't hear them, but I'm sure you will know the answers because we've read the story twice or you've read it thrice already. And the questions are quite straightforward. except for the last one, which I will go through with you. Okay, so the answers. The name of the article is African Black Rhino Numbers Going Up. That's the name of the article. The article was written on the 23rd of March 2020. The article is about African black rhinos. Now at this stage, grade 4s, I want you to see that I'm answering the question in full sentences. This is how I'm doing it. I'm using the questions to answer the questions. So when I asked, what is the name of the article? When I answer the question, I am now restating that question by using the name of the article is African black rhino numbers are going up. Rhinos are poached for their horn. Vietnam and China. Okay, that answers the question as to what, name the places that think that rhino horns have special powers. And there were 4,845 rhinos in 2012. 892 rhinos were killed in 2018. And lastly, humans are using more natural land and taking space from the animals. So that means that there are not enough space or land for animals to roam freely anymore because humans are taking up more and more space. So in the last section of the article, they speak about if we really want rhinos to increase, we actually have to consider humans to decrease the amount of land, that natural land that they are taking, so that we can make more space for these animals. Grade 4s, I hope that you understood this lesson about answering a non-fictional text like a newspaper article, and that you enjoyed the article because it spoke about something very real. It spoke about how rhino poaching is a serious problem in Africa, and they are on the verge of extinction. So we have to be aware of what we do, and we have to be aware of the news, because the more we read, the more we'll understand. So from me, Mrs. Nicole Frank, I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope that you enjoyed this lesson. So from me, goodbye.